Welcome to the course on the global social economy, your second course on the global social economy. I just want to do a very brief reflection at the start of the course. There's a wonderful book called Super Cooperators by an author by the name of Michael Nowak, who is one of the world's leading evolutionary biologists and statisticians. And it's a very powerful book. It's called Super Cooperators, and basically what he points out in the book is that while we think of evolution as being a sort of competitive survival of the fittest, what it really is much more rooted in cooperation. So he points out, for example, that life evolved first as single-cell organisms. Unless we got to the stage where two cells could cooperate with each other, we would still live in a world with single-cell organisms. It's the cooperation between cells that has allowed us to have the enormous diversity of life that covers the planet. Nowak also points out that there is much higher rates of survival of species when they cooperate, helping each other to do the things they need and to make the goods and services that they need and to provide for themselves. So you have from elemental things like beehives and ant colonies, which are enormously tightly socially structured and cooperative. You also have human beings, and if you think about the human race, perhaps what has defined us more than any other species on the planet is our ability to cooperate, our ability to do things to help each other. And when you look at something as horrible as the war in Syria, remember that it has also brought out the very best in people in terms of responding to that horror, because most people understand that this is unacceptable. Most of humanity understands that. And you have enormous efforts made of people working together. They're not competing. They're working together to make what is a terrible situation better. And you see the same thing happening now in Fort McMurray in Canada with this enormous wildfire. The outpouring of helpfulness and altruism from people is far, far greater than one would have normally expected. And people generally react to it and say, wow, isn't this fantastic? Well, why is that? Well, they react that way because we are conditioned in a capitalist culture to expect the worst. Until we don't get the worst, do we? Because that's not the way we live our lives. We don't live our lives looking for material gain from our relationships with our children, with our families, with our neighbors, even with the people we work with. What we look for is reciprocity and helping each other and caring and sharing. And those are the dominant traits of humanity. The challenge to you and to us as a global society is how do we change our economic system to reflect who we really are as human beings? How do we get an economic system that reflects what is best in us and not what is worst? So think about that, and think about it when we come to the question of how do you build a cooperative economy, and is it realistic? Of course it's realistic. It's only a little change. Thank you.